I almost got scammed. But they didn't count for me being broke, so it's fine. They didn't count for 1, me being broke, and 2, me just not caring. And also using them to my advantage. So I learned some important things I needed to know, and it pointed me in the direction I wanted. So, technically, everything worked out. It need not be so obvious. I got one of those random Twitch DMs of like, oh, how's your streaming doing? Oh, do you want me to point you to this famous person I know? And I should have seen it. But I have this thing called I think people are genuine. And sometimes it's not good. Fair amount of the time, it's not good. There are some genuine people still on the internet. But usually I find those via a friend of a friend. And not random strangers. Yeah, I think every time I've had just a random DM that's not turned out too well. That's a lie. I did get a random Blue Sky DM of a genuine creator who was trying to share out their game. I'm like, hey, genuine advice. I don't do variety games really unless I've already played it off camera. And I'm purely a Minecraft streamer. I am not the person you want to come to with a card teach CG type of game. And they're like, oh yeah, sorry. Thank you for the advice. We'll make sure to look into it in the future. I'm like, cool. Good. That was a genuine, nice DM. This other one, no. It was just like, I was so annoyed with this all morning while I was dealing with it. And then it's like, oh, pay us such and such amount. I'm like, can't do that. Oh well. But hey, you told me the things you were gonna do. Let me research that. And when I started typing that in, the first thing that came up was a Reddit thread about someone who got a Twitch DM about the exact same thing. And other people confirmed, yeah, usually it's somebody pointing you to a Fiverr account, which is what happened. Someone pointing you to a Fiverr account. I think this is still too high. I'm trying to figure out the gain I need for this. And also the placement of the mic, because I moved it, and I don't know what I did when I moved it. I've moved across the room, and I don't know what happened. But people underneath said Reddit thread also confirmed, yeah, that this is what always happens. Like, oh, hello. The demons. They've come to get me. The scammers. They found my camera. Okay. But yes. Thankfully, they didn't count for 1, me being broke, and 2, me using the information they gave me to find this shit myself. Because I came into this and I was straightforward the entire time, like, I just want to see if there's random pieces of advice of something small I missed. It was something small I missed. Literally taking what they were trying to, like, upsell me for $200. No. What they were trying to upsell me a ridiculous thing on was basic stuff that I fixed in an afternoon. So, when you're dealing with scammers, be broke, take their information, and do it yourself. But it was really basic stuff that I was missing. Like, I'm curious, is there something obvious I'm missing? Yes. I could be doing the Twitch VOD descriptions, which is the thing that I didn't think was important. Or doing better, just general descriptions of my channels. Generally being better at descriptions of everything. And while it's layered under a bunch of fancy lingo, packaging, SEOs, whatever, classified ads, a lot of it's just be straightforward with what you're doing. Maybe label something specific, do something that nobody else is doing, even if it's literally just, oh, all the Minecraft thumbnails right now are the green grass, blue sky, screenshot of a build. Do a different background. Do something different that kind of sticks out a bit. Don't make all your ads unified Mr. Beast, same thing over and over and over. Ads, thumbnails. Don't make them the same thing over and over again. I think you can hear my little straw clinking. It's been a fun day. It is the hottest weekend so far. It was 60 3 days ago. It is currently over 80. Our ice machine broke. It decided to randomly break. There is no rhyme or reason to why it is. It's just broken. We have only 2 ice trays. This is a 32-ounce water bottle. I have 2 of these that I stock full of ice because I hate even temperate water. I'm suffering. My body does not know how to... This is an actual thing. This is why my username is MutationCIP. I am the mutation. I am CIP, cerebral insensitivity to pain. Part of that, I have trouble managing my own goddamn body temperature, and I use cold water to help manage the goddamn thing. So today is sucked. Temperate water makes me feel like soup. I do not want to feel like soup. The only time I wish to feel like soup is when I am in a soup of blankets and pillows. That is the only time. Anyway, that's not what we're doing today. I got scammed. Ice machine sucks. What I want to do today is we're gonna kind of lurk around, hang out, vibe. I want to get some bridges built. That's been on my list for ages. I mean, we do have Elytras now, but I'm gonna build the bridge anyway. I want to build there's things I need to do. I got a destructor hammer like 2 weeks ago to fix this problem. And then I have been using it. We did literally use it to build the, rebuild the end city ship at the port. It was very helpful for that. But I haven't used it for the actual thing I got it for, which is to help build tunnels, to build bridges, to build paths across the server. This is all of these hands. I used to do VTuber a lot. All of these hands. This is why I moved to Facecam. Also, it's way easier to run modded Minecraft. Speaking of modded Minecraft, I am currently AFKs. AFK, please. Minecraft? Are we just not allowed? Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I moved my game. I moved shit around. Hold on. Move myself up and move that down. Because I had to... My camera is cropped a lot. And I realized when I was editing the last VOD, which was Thursday, what was the name of that one? Unless I've changed the title since then, if this is in the future. Something about spiders. I caught a spider. I caught a spider at the port. I'm actually in the spider farm right now. Hello, welcome. I think I recognize you from the content creator not SMP, Discord. Hello, hi. I still need to fix that. We still need to fix that. I've been AFK here. I have gotten work done. Because in addition to streaming this SMP, I record it. That's going to go up tomorrow. I have decorated a tiny bit of the iron farm. So I wanted this kind of floating half of a ship, which is being supported by this little platform down here. I wanted this... This is eventually going to add on more. I did not have the time or energy to do that this week, and I'm glad I did, because it meant I had some time to actually chill out and cool down for the weekend, and if I did not have that time and I was burning myself out, I would not have energy for the stream. I'm very happy and lucky I was able to spend just a good hour existing before stream. But the iron farm definitely works. Because I guarantee I am now going to be over what it was when I last checked it. Because I've been sitting AFK, starting up stream and everything. So I have a feeling it's going to be a lovely... Oh, it's almost there. I thought it was going to be at 6k yet. I don't know how or why you get stuck here. This is a consistent thing. I don't know why they do this. Because clearly he just walks over there because he feels like it. Because he walked down to... I don't know what is happening with you. I really do not know. Doink. But yeah, that's working. The last time we streamed it was at 2,000. When I was building this, it ticked over to 4,000. I have no idea when it got to 5,000, but it's there now. I have not properly AFK'd this thing. The only time it has been AFK'd is when I'm building around the area. And like, maybe total actual AFK times is when I'm setting up streams or setting up recordings or shift. There's a word I want. I've lost it. going around through my backpacks, and maybe all that total is a half hour. So I have no idea how this has gotten so much. Well, it is a quad. It is a quad iron farm, but regardless, it is ridiculous. I am very pleased by it. And once I actually get the villagers moved over here and we get a ridiculous amount of toolsmiths, weaponsmiths, armorsmiths, etc., 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 we're gonna have a huge emerald economy, and there's nobody ever gonna be hungry, pretty much. We're gonna have literally everything we could want. We're gonna go back over to East, my base. I have a bunch of stuff in my backpacks that I would rather not have at the moment. What we need to continue building, I've already have temporary paths around our area over here out east. And I'm trying to slowly go west because that area has had literally nothing so far. I should still have all the stuff for that. I'm pretty sure I just threw it into here. Yeah. These two have all my building stuff for the bridges. I need to explain. Okay. While I was procrastinating the last bit of my recording and actually working on adding the decoration decor around the iron farm and making that all functional, I was really burnt out and just needed to have some control over what I was doing for like a few seconds at least, and just do something I wanted to do. I'd already spent like an hour on Oxygen on Clued. I'm like, I need to get on the server, I need to work, I need to do something so I can actually get all this done. And so I'm like, okay, I wanted to build a sniffer farm. I already had the room laid out. All I had to do was decorate it, make a tiny collection system underneath, and add in the sniffers. So now over here we have Leafy and Rifey. There was also that third one in there, but all three of them together just don't fit. And even now, they barely have enough room for both of them to exist somewhat comfortably. They can't super stretch out, but they can exist here. Also, I'm pretty sure their hitboxes are big enough and this area is small enough that Leafy will always be on the left and Rifey will always be on the right. So I do adore that. And then everything they get comes over to this little area. Wink. And it will slowly, passively give me all the seeds. So they're downright adorable. And I'm like, okay, we have the third one. What are we gonna do? And we have the baby sniffer that I wanted very desperately, named Mishmish. So of course, we have Mama Mishmish. And I love her dear. She's adorable. I love her. They both just chill up there. I don't know why Mishmish pathbinding is just stuck right here, so he just exists here permanently. He just vibing. I have a bunch of stuff in my backpacks from building the last piece of that, because I ran out of steam. Like, okay, at the very least, if I can't do anything else, I need to get that ship part done. And I should have done this earlier like a good streamer and actually done all the things that I needed to get done. But I did not do that. So if you would allow me to do so, I'm gonna quickly throw these away and get that done. I still have so many chores that I need to do. I have the other things I need to do and get done. And I should have time tomorrow between stuff to get some more chores done. And get some random things that are sitting about the server that altogether will take an hour. Hopefully. Or 2 hours. 2 hours. Because I need to fix the mangrove warpstone. It has been broken. We discovered this last stream. It's just broken. It is simply broken. It won't let me rename it. It won't let me really do anything with it. It's not supposed to do that. So currently, the mangrove warpstone is just warpstone number 32. It's not supposed to be. Are you? You are in the right one. I'm in the wrong one. That is what is occurring here. That is what happened. Give back those. Brain. Brain needs to work. Those are oak. Those are not the things I need to be dealing with. Perfect. That should be everything in that one, which leaves the final backpack. Like, half of my brain tells me my inventory, with the backpacks and everything, half of my brain tells me E is inventory key, and the other half tells me it's C because that opens all of the stuff. My backpack that I have on my back, the little netherite backpack. But then I can't click my other backpacks or open them or move them around because hack proofing, and also so you don't get backpack stuck in a backpack or your own backpack stuck in your own backpack, etc. And I understand why, but I'm still going to be annoyed by it. I wish I could just use useful backpacks. I really wish. But that is an old mod for Forge and not Fabric. I think at some point, I've dabbled with this idea over and over again. I just need to open a server, or at least like do a small playthrough, multiplayer playthrough. Why? Oh no, this is the bottom one. Okay. Do a small multiplayer playthrough of just playing old mods. I don't even care if it's amalgamation. I just want to play old mods and enjoy all my favorite old mods. This is the entire reason amalgamation started in the first place. Hello! Welcome. Thank you for the cranberries. I almost got scammed because I got one of those Twitch DMs of like, hey, let me set you up with somebody who's popular and give you all the tips. And I'm like, yeah, sure. If I miss something obvious, I want to know because I feel like I missed something obvious. I did. And they're like, okay, go over to this Fiverr account. Pay me $200. I'm like, hey, I'm broke. But in trying to get me to pay them, they told me everything they were going to do. And I was just able to search and look it up, and one, find out that it was a scam because the first result for it was a Reddit thread explaining that, yes, this is a scam, don't interact with them. So I got to scam them kind of a little bit. I wasted their time, and I stole their info. As in the information they were gonna give them, not, like, their IP address. And I just haven't heard back. It's great. They just kind of dipped, and I'm very happy about it. So I almost got scammed, but they didn't count for me being broke and then just taking the information and doing it myself. You're skipping for me. I got shit Wi-Fi. Oh no. TLDR, I almost got scammed. They didn't count for me being broke and then doing it myself because they gave me all the information of what they were going to do. And they didn't account for me being educated in graphic design and marketing. I don't think I've talked about that. I every now and again bring up I know and have done graphic design on streams. I don't think I've ever brought up that I have legit, like, taken classes and I have been trained somewhat in graphic design. If I wanted, that's absolutely a course I could easily go down. I have the connections, I have all the knowledge, I still practice it. There's a fantastic website. I have this shared on the Discord, but if you want to just search it up, it is Design Size? Design ERCSZE, I believe. But it's a really fun way to practice graphic design, or just practice drawing in general. It's a cute little website, it's really themed, it's like an indie website, I adore it, it's so cool. And it's old-fashioned retro-y. Like, we're talking old arcade cabinet retro. And it gives you have a couple different options. You can put, like, easy, medium, hard difficulties. You can set a little timer, so you have a little timer to track how long you're doing it. The default is, like, 15 minutes. And then it will give you random prompts. As in, like, oh, design a food app for teachers who are who really want recipes for their classes. Something like that. What was the one I designed? I think I threw it in the sketchbook. Pretty sure. Yes, I did! I had an insult generator for sports fans, and I ended up doing like a bunch of 10 different ideas really quickly, and then did a cute little design about it. And I ended up naming it Call It, with a little... can I... There we go. I ended up naming it Call It with the silhouette of a whistle. A really fun thing to do. I exited and reopened the app, so again, sorry, you gotta repeat the gazillionth time. How did you get sand something Fiverr? It's a Fiverr scam. People will DM you on Twitch and be like, oh, here's the famous people. I know famous people, they could give you tips and tricks, let me send you their Discord, and then the Discord person sends you over to Fiverr and tells you to pay them $200. They didn't count for 1, me being broke, 2, me taking the information they were giving me, and the things they were trying to offer me, and searching that up myself, Googling it myself, which let me see that it was a scam, and also that I just took the information and ran and did it myself. Because I'm educated in marketing and graphic design. I went into it because I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take some random tips and tricks if I miss something obvious. I did. I just need better descriptions, titles, thumbnails. Because I do my own editing. I'm fairly confident with my editing at this point. I'm fairly comfortable with it. I'm fairly comfortable with a whole lot of the process. It's the posting part that gets to me, which I struggle with the titles, thumbnails, and as I said, descriptions. And there were some simple things I was missing, like better descriptions, not necessarily of videos, although I needed that as well, but better descriptions of the channel, of the Twitch VODs. There is an area for Twitch VOD descriptions. Doing clips as well on Twitch, because that's when you search somebody's username on, when you search someone's Twitch via Google, it will actually pop up their Twitch and not pop up the VODs, but pop up your clips first. And if you only type in the name, it only gives the Twitch, but having some clips there gives people a better idea of your account, and having some keywords that immediately tell people, hey, keywords, I know it sounds hard, I know that sounds very markety. Just saying, like, at the beginning of my description now on Twitch, I have a couple emojis, so it, like, kind of brackets out different areas, and you can glance over it and get a general idea, literally just from the emojis, of what I do. And also a couple immediate words that's like, okay, this is the thing I'm looking for. Hey, I see the thing I'm looking for. Modded building survival content on an SMP. Or the fact that I've been more focused on making custom farms lately. Just little things like that that I've been missing. I forgot to grab the things I need. But yeah, I just took their information, I took the stuff they were trying to give me, and then I did it myself for free. So, it's a little harder to get scammed when you're broke. And I think they eventually figured it out. I have a feeling I was probably talking with a computer. It sounded very computerized half the time, so it was probably just a fucking AI. But we're good. I gave it to you or me, but you're skipping. But what I could get out of it is someone DM'd you on Discord, asked you to support them on Fiverr, but they didn't take into account you're broke and that you would research them. Yep. That is the bare bones of it. Or research what they were trying to sell me, anyhow. Because sometimes you're just missing the little thing because you don't even know to look for it. Because while Twitch, I guess, SEO is kind of bullshit wording, and it's just really marketing gotcha words for algorithm, there is some actual things behind it. Although TLDR of ESO stuff is just descriptions, thumbnails, titles. That's about it. I have the notes still. What were the other things I was supposed to look into? There's another one that was just completely bullshit. One of them was just like, this is bullshit stuff that you're talking out of your ass for, and basically just saying view bots. Organic funnel skyrocket promo. That's how I found out this was a scam, because that was one of the or I think it was SEO setup. That was the thing that told me about the scam. But also the funnel thing, it's just ridiculous. And it's just loan shark tactics as well. It's make sure they get your email, spam them with the email. We don't care if they hate it. Send them the email anyway. You know, every single thing you have to X out of on any given website when you literally just want to browse something or you just want to look at your For example, tea. You open up a tea website. It's like, oh, sign up for our newsletter. And you click out. And you go to exit the website, and you have something left in the cart because you're like, I don't have the money for this right now. Or, oh, I just want to remember this for later so I could maybe find it somewhere else because this one's too expensive. And they keep sending you emails. Hey, you left something in your cart. That's all funnel, skyrocket promo, whatever it wants to be called. It's just loan shark tactics. It's bullshit loan shark tactics, and I don't know why they thought that was applicable to Twitch streaming when it's just a bunch of buzzwords. And the only way it probably applies to Twitch streaming is viewbots. That's probably the only thing it actually does. And classified ad setup, it was another one of the things they were trying to offer. And I can see some value in it, but in large part, classified ads just refers to like old newspaper ads. And also the ads you see on like the sides of websites, or when you go onto this random very particular website for like, let's say, image converter. So you change a JPEG to a PNG. All the ads that cover that website are classified ads. And it just tells them, hey, you remember me? Come back to me. Come click on me. Do my thing. Don't worry about what they're doing. Do my thing. That's a classified ad. I think we need to go spawn. Yes. Probably. It's hot as hell in here, by the way. It's hot as hell in this room. I have a fan going, but I also have now lights going. I did have my computer off for a while, but then I came back on. I haven't done anything crazy. This is the most I've used my computer all day. Otherwise, the rest of the day, I've literally just had websites open. That's about it. I opened Minecraft a couple times earlier today, and I'd even log on the server. I was on a single player for a little bit to make thumbnails, and that's about it. But almost getting scammed did teach me the things that I kind of needed to know and make me realize the obvious things I was missing. So hey, it worked out. I feel like it's important to know, and why I think this situation's so funny. The morning that the guy had replied to me, because it was a completely different time zone, supposedly this was a German creator. I am West Coast America. So completely different time zones. I wake up and I get the message. Before I even opened my phone to see that I had the message, I had pulled my phone away, and I'm really tired, and I just woke up, and I didn't realize I hadn't unplugged my phone yet, so I gotta pull it right on my face. I actually had a mark on my nose for a couple days after. It finally came off this morning. But if you look back on Thursday stream, there's just a random red mark appear on my nose, and that's from my phone falling flat on my fucking face. Sometimes life just needs to slap you in the face. You just need a slap in the face in the morning. And I definitely got a slap in the face. But then I proceeded to roll with it. So, it's all chill, it's all cool. Also, this is why I wanted specifically a destructor hammer. Because now I don't need to do nearly as much work. And this is literally perfect for what I want. So I don't even have to look at the screen. I can just walk forward, it's fine. It's moss. I'm literally just watching this. I'm literally just watching the OBS. I needed stone! I forgot about this! I need stone! I barely have a couple stacks of stone right now. Because I've been using it for so many different things. And also for these paths. But I need stone. I completely forgot about this part. This is fantastic. I forgot. Do I have my vision off? I have it on. Do I have my camera on? Yeah, I have my camera up. I don't know. It's probably the shaders. Hold on. Yes. Yes, it is. I can deal without having my pretty shaders for like 2 seconds. Oh, my shaders were running shit the other day. And I was trying to figure out what in the world was going on. I'm looking through the settings. I'm like, I have everything down. What's happening? The shadow resolution was at max. It was at 2048. Currently, I think I have it down at like 12 or something. It's low. Shadows. 256. It was all the way up here at the max 4000. So safe to say, no. No. I want to find a way to make that run as amazing as possible while still having it look decent. So I love and hate how much I have to move around my glasses. I wear my glasses very particularly. I wear them in the center of my nose, not the bottom, not the top, just the center of my nose. But because these are such round lenses, and I haven't worn such large lenses in a while, they're always falling down my goddamn nose. And it's an annoying bugger. Which I kind of really wish didn't happen, but it is what it is. And it's just gonna happen. It's fine. We vibe, we chill. I need to get random little chores done. We're gonna try my best to get them done. I was talking about, I need the chores. I need to get chores done. Is the warp stones to fix? I also need to fix the spider farm. I need to finish the iron farm at some point. And I have a little list on my computer. I think it's just called window widget, something like that. I don't remember what it's called. What are you called? Task manager, what are you called? You're one of my startup apps. What are you called? Widget launcher. Yeah, it's literally just called Widget Launcher. You can find it for free on the App Store. Just like your normal desktop, or the Microsoft Store? Whatever the desktop store is. Whatever that one's called. But you can find it for free on there, and they've added some updates that make it even easier to use. For a long time, you had to slowly color pick everything, and you couldn't match colors across different things. You couldn't even put in a hex code. They finally added that. I'm very happy. Because I've been changing my wallpaper a lot. But I have a bunch of widgets on my desktop, and it looks all pretty. I even have, I have a bunch of world clocks. I have a bunch of tiny clocks on the right-hand side of my desktop for different time zones, so I can remember, okay, they're not awake yet, this person's awake, I can message this person now, etc. And then on the left-hand side, I have a little calendar, and below that, I have a notes app open that has, oh, Passion SMP, I want to do this in the mega base. I still want to do this at the port. I really need to get the spawn bridges done. And I've been moving things around and about as I go through the season on that little notes app. And then I have even more notes I keep in this planner. And I've actually finally used this entire planner, and I'm very happy. Hello, Shadow! And I'm very happy I finally used the entire thing. And so I've already set up. Apparently, I've set up my boom arm in the perfect spot for me to hit it every time without fail. I've already set up the exact same one the second time for tomorrow. And making it easier for myself so I don't have to rewrite things all the goddamn time. Hello, Shadow, how are you? I almost got scammed, but they didn't count for me being broke and also smarter than them. Is smarter than them a good way to put it? For me doing it myself. Taking what they were trying to sell me and doing it myself. They looked literally 2 seconds into this channel. They would realize if I see something and I want it done, I will do it myself. If I see something doesn't exist and I want it to happen, I do it. Yeah, you can't scam me if I'm broke. Yeah. It's the ultimate way to go about things. Honestly, even if I was rich, I would still probably do it myself. If I managed to launch this SMP, because it didn't exist and I wanted it to, while being broke, because this was originally just a free server on Minehut. We are now... I do pay for the server. I am technically cheap about it. There are other ways. There are other services you can use, but this one's a cheaper one that also, they run really good. It's Logic servers, which I believe... I found this because the people who do Hermitcraft, they also use Logic servers. And there's a promo code. So I got a couple bucks off I got $1 off the first month, which was $8 is one of the lowest tiers you can get. We're currently doing like $13 a month for this modded server. I'm not the person who's explored the most on the server, by the way. I would love and hate to see Shadow's mini-map, because that would look absolutely ridiculous. I would hate to see how long it takes to do world download. That would be very interesting to figure out. Because of last season, Billy Bob went out quite a bit. And from him exploring so much, it took me I want to say about 3 hours if I was particular and efficient about the way I downloaded it. About 3 hours to download the world file for the server. And most of that's just the world itself from people loading it chunks. It got reset in last update. Oh no! Damn. I'm sorry. That sucks. I apologize. There's still more things we need to update and fix around. I need to do another @ so I can figure out what we're doing for the monthly event. I think push comes to shove, I might just set up... I think Tabletoptopia would be a decent thing that a lot of us could do. If not Gartic Phone. And I might just put a tentative date and be like, hey, if you show up, you show up. Thank you, I appreciate it. If not, it's cool. Do what you can. I feel like Tabletoptopia would be fun, though. I would love to just have a group of adult Minecrafters playing Snakes and Ladders. I think that would be funny. I just think it'd be cool. just perhaps. A little bit silly. I'm trying to think of what... I know there's other games. We could play Resident Evil. I know that's a game you could play for free on Tabletopia. Tabletopia? Tabletoptopia? I think it's Tabletopia, because it's tabletop and Topia. I have a TTRPG campaign with made a group of 4, soon 5, so like tell me why I want to make another campaign with another 5 people. I don't know what to tell you. Tabletopia is just a board game site. It's not like a full campaign thing. It's just a board game site. Like, you could play, checkers. For some reason, that's the first thing that came to mind. They have French Tarot, because I was looking through a bunch of different ones. How long do I wanna... I'm just gonna move this up, because this is gonna take forever. We're just gonna move this back up. And I've not even started the first campaign. Oh no. I need... there's many things I need to do. I need to start. I'm gonna do writing tomorrow. I want to do some writing tomorrow, and I want to take what I have written so far and rewrite it into paper journals. I have a couple shitty notebooks lying around. And I just want to rewrite it down, 1, to get myself reacquainted with everything. And 2, to have a physical copy of it. And 3, so I can start writing the next thing as paper. And from there, I'll be writing as paper and then transfer it to digital. But, like, I want people to experience the Amazing Dragons. If we have enough people that are acquainted... hello, sir? If we have enough people that's acquainted with D&D, we could just do a spoof one. Do an escape room campaign. Escape room should be a good enough thing to just test around fuck with. I've never personally played D&D, but I know enough that I could run around and work around with it. I've been tempted to a couple times to, like, seriously get into it. And I know one of my friends can run and is trying to run a campaign, but just never got started, and we've been talking about it for years. So, who knows? Who knows? It is what it is. We'll see what happens. I'm, like, so out of steam. Brain has been braining a lot. I have a fun build challenge for tomorrow. And we're gonna have fun with that. It's gonna be I'm gonna do a blind one. Not without my glasses. Completely different sort of blind. That not even chat is gonna be able to see. This is my first time ever being a DM. Ooh, nice. Daddy Cranberry, thank you. I am so out of steam. I'm like, I know I want to stream, I know I want to get stuff done. Do we want to flip the stream up on side of its head? I've been here for 40 minutes. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna finish this path, and then either I'm pulling up Depending on what I feel, we'll do either Oxygen Not Included or Skyrim. Feeling more like Oxygen Not Included, though. That just sounds like fun. I've been doing a lot of it lately. I need to find better ways to go about it. What I've been doing is a survival playthrough of it. And just playing it, literally I do like one session that day of that world, and then that is it. And taking what I learned from that world and moving it and applying it to the next one. Like, okay, this ended up being a problem later. Let's maybe think about this better when I start building? Or just don't do it. Or maybe I should do this thing really earlier instead, because it's a serious problem. You still gotta launch yourself across the map if you haven't. I wanted to do that. It doesn't fucking work and I hate it. I wish it did. It doesn't. It's a very... I can't remember what it was. I'm not sure if it's something I just can't do on the server or if it's something that I can only do in single player. I remember I could not change the thing I needed to in order for it to work on the server. It was not something possible. Hey, welcome to me working on thumbnails and doing barrier stuff. Let me take some rails. Because thankfully this don't need a whole lot to get set up. TNT, not TNT. Block. Doink, doink, doink. Nope, that's not what I need to do. I need to doot, and then remove that top one. Do this, and then doink. Yes? Yeah, this way. Doink, doink. Oop. Because it won't go any faster than that. There's some thing you have to change. Can you change it on single player? Minecraft minecart launcher. I don't care about your new Google settings. That is a 16-year-old r/Minecraft post of an old-fashioned booster. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the patch, the recent patch. There we go. 24W, 33A. Expansion sound. Oh yeah, it's in world creation. This experimental feature you have to have. Where? How to launch a minecart mob in the air using... It has to have something in it? Not the right version. This was before Tiny Takeover. This was one of the things that was added with Tiny Takeover. I know that much. I know we can do it on our new version. I don't have the thing turned on for it. What is minecart improvement? Is it? Game rule, minecart max speed. No, maybe it is... Maybe you're right. Maybe it is not right version. How old was that post? No, this is a year ago. These are all a year ago. So this should be the correct version for it. I'm still... Why is my camera? I'm being taken in by the scammers. The scammers are stealing me. Okay, we're good. We're gonna... make my computer hate me, because I just want to see more experiments. Perfect time for it to glitch. So there's a very particular reason why it glitches. This camera's old, and it's been tugged on a lot. I love it glitching, as I say that. It's very temperamental. and the cord likes to fall out. If the cord falls too far, it leaves this dimension. Minecart improvements. Done. Alright. Alright, I've been proven wrong. I do have to turn that on. I love the lag. So much. So much. I forgot about my iced coffee. Well, as ice as I could get it. We don't have a lot of ice trays. The ice machine broken. We don't have a lot of ice trays. So currently we have 2 ice trays going. And then the random thing I pulled out, like 2 or 3 years ago, I don't remember exactly. I know who gave this to me. I'm glitching horridly. What is wrong with you? What? What? The scammers. Do I have to lean it down? Is that it? Okay, we're fine. We're chill for the moment. The only other ice tray kind of thing I could find, I have a mold for kitty cats. It has like 6 little kitty cats in it. I'm pretty sure this is from Japan if I remember who gave it to me. It's a little tiny kitty cat mold from Japan, so I put a little bit of water in it, and if I really desperately need ice, I grab that thing. So, I have kitty cats floating in my iced coffee. Decaf, I cannot have coffee. Alright, are we ready to launch a pig? Are we ready for Air Piggy? We're gonna come up here and we're gonna make Air Pig. This is a beautiful time for this song. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy diggy hole. Digging a hole. Oh, so simple build. But oh, how much fun you will create. Alright. No, it needs to be a corner. Alright. Yeah, okay, I can do this. I can do this. This'll work. Or no, it'd be better as like this then. I don't know why I'm trying to do it like that. That's why I'm trying to do it like that. Because I'm being very silly about many things right now. And then we put that there. Doink, doink, doink. Oop. Game rule. Minecart. Minecart? You gonna ramp up? It has to be with this new version, right? Did they change the name of it? Because they change the names of the shit all the time. Did they? No. No. Never. No. No. Just no. No. Lovely. I love that, so. If you're ever trying to look for fire spread anymore, it's called fire spread radius around player. I love that. I love that so much. These are the exact same. Okay, axiom. Okay. What were the words that I said of what snapshot it was? Does it only exist in this snapshot? Oh, too many. I don't care about your intro. 24W33A. Minecraft 24W33A. This is a 2-year-old snapshot. Minecraft, why can't I do the thing in the actual release? Yeah, this is when they started testing the bundles. There we go. Minecarts will articulate their movement better when going fast, riding on the rail all the time. Minecarts will not smoothly turn along track and are less likely to halt or derail. Minecarts can now jump better. Add a new accessibility setting. Add a new game rule, minecart max speed. Why don't I have that? Minecart max speed? Yes, please? 1 year ago, game rule removed? Correct version? This is from 2 years ago, as well. Why is the game rule not working? Enable features. Go to drop-down menu next to play button on the Java edition of the drop-down latest release. Click on that and change it to latest. I know. Did they get rid of it after the snapshot? What? I don't understand. How much you want to bet Modrinth has a mod for this? How much you want to bet there is a Modrinth mod? Modrinth? I'm gonna type in minecart and see what it gives me. Modrinth? Minecart? I didn't get a single thing from minecart. Is it under data pack? Minecart. No. Speed? Max speed? No. Not allowed. I'm not allowed to have the mine. You see why this never happened now? You see why I'm not allowed to launch? I can launch across the server. I know how to launch. You can make an Elytra launcher. I know how you can make an Elytra launcher. There are many ways to make Elytra launchers. There are many ways. You may die to some of them. I'd have to test if they work. I'm gonna try making some of those for the next. That's what we need to do. I'm gonna throw this, parts of this at least, into the next episode I make of PSMP. I want to make that. I want to do that. Because you can definitely do that. But brain tired of the Minecrafts. I feel like Oxygen not included. I really do feel like that. We're gonna make a completely new one, and we're gonna see what happens. And if I enjoy this enough, I will make it a cut video over on the second